The morning sun hadn't yet crested the horizon when a beige 2003 Toyota Highlander was discovered overturned near Castaic Lake in Southern California. The vehicle was empty, eerily silent, and wedged into a ravine just off a winding stretch of Lake Hughes Road. The back window had been shattered from the inside. Bryce Laspisa, a 19-year-old college student, was gone. But that was only the end of the known trail. The story begins much earlier, with a bright, artistic young man whose behavior would suddenly take a turn that no one could explain. Bryce Laspisa was preparing for his second year at Sierra College, just outside Sacramento. A talented artist, with a magnetic personality, he seemed to be on a solid path. He had loving parents, a girlfriend, and a seemingly stable life. But in the weeks leading up to August 30th, things changed. He started giving away prized possessions, his Xbox, even a pair of earrings he always wore. He broke up with his girlfriend abruptly and without a clear reason. Friends noted that Bryce had been drinking heavily and taking Vicodins, an ADHD medication not prescribed to him, which can lead to severe sleep deprivation and mood swings when abused. His family began to grow concerned. His mother, Karen, sensed something was wrong, but Bryce assured her he was fine. He was just thinking, he said. He needed space. On August 28, 2013, Bryce got into his Highlander and left Rocklin, telling friends he was headed home to Laguna Niguel, about 450 miles south. But instead of making the direct drive, Bryce made a series of odd, prolonged stops. He called his mother late that evening from Buttonwillow, a small town off I-5 in Kern County. He said he was fine, but he wasn't moving. Hours passed, then more hours. Karen grew worried and, from hundreds of miles away, called roadside assistance to check on him. The technician who arrived later said Bryce seemed lucid, nice, just tired. After his car was refueled, Bryce remained in Buttonwillow for another 9 hours, parked by the same roadside area, seemingly doing nothing. Why? No one knows. In the early morning hours of August 30th, Bryce called his parents once more. He said he was too tired to continue driving and would pull off the road to sleep. He was about 90 minutes from home. They agreed he'd rest and call them in the morning, but that call never came. Later that day, Bryce's SUV was found near Castaic Lake. Authorities determined it had been driven up an embankment and deliberately accelerated off the edge, plummeting 25 feet before landing on its side. The rear window was broken outward. Inside the car were Bryce's cell phone, wallet, laptop. His duffel bag was outside, near the road. Small traces of blood were found, but there were no signs of a serious injury, no footprints, no drag marks, no Bryce. Search teams combed the lake and nearby hills. Helicopters scanned the terrain. Divers scoured the water. Bloodhounds tracked a scent trail that led away from the crash site, across the dam, and down to a nearby truck stop, before vanishing completely. In the aftermath, theories multiplied. Some believe Bryce intended to end his life, but survived the crash and fled, confused or traumatized. Others suspect a psychotic break brought on by substance use. The fact that his scent trailed off near a truck stop leads many to wonder. Did he hitch a ride and vanish into a new life? There were occasional unconfirmed sightings in the months and years that followed. A man resembling Bryce was spotted at a homeless shelter. Another was seen wandering in the desert. None were definitively him. More than a decade later, Bryce Laspisa is still missing. His parents, Karen and Michael, continue to search. They hold on to hope that he's out there somewhere, that maybe he lost his memory, or simply chose to walk away from a life that had begun to spiral. On anniversaries, they release messages to the public, begging for information, for leads, for even the faintest echo of their son's voice. But the road Bryce took that night, where it led, what it meant, and what he saw as he disappeared into the dark, remains a mystery, a story without an ending. It was just another Saturday night on South Street. Neon lights glowed against the pavement, music spilled from open bar doors, and groups of friends laughed their way through the cold winter air. Among them were two familiar faces: Danielle Imbo, a 34-year-old mortgage processor and mother, and Richard Petrone Jr., a 35-year-old bakery worker and father. They were longtime friends, maybe more, reconnecting after life had pulled them in different directions. They spent the evening at Abilene's, a popular bar near the corner of 4th and South Streets. By all accounts, it was a typical night out. They chatted with friends, shared drinks, and made plans. Around 11:45 p.m., they said their goodbyes and walked off into the night toward Rich's truck, a black 2001 Dodge Dakota, parked somewhere nearby. And then, nothing. No more phone calls. No more bank transactions. No trace of Danielle or Rich has ever been found. Not a phone, not a shoe, not a single signal bouncing off a cell tower. Not even the truck. Danielle was living in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. She had recently separated from her husband and was navigating the complexities of single motherhood. Rich lived in South Philly, a few blocks from the bakery his family had run for years. The two had known each other for a long time, and in recent months, their friendship had deepened into a budding romance. Friends described them both as grounded, responsible. They had children they loved, and steady jobs. No one expected that their night out in Philadelphia would be their last, but on February 20th, when Danielle failed to return to pick up her son from a playdate, her family knew something was terribly wrong. Rich's family hadn't heard from him either. Panic quickly set in. Police in Philadelphia and New Jersey launched a joint investigation. The FBI got involved early, suspecting something more sinister than a simple missing persons case. But the deeper they dug, the more puzzling it became. No surveillance footage showed the couple or the truck leaving South Street. Their phones went silent within hours. No pings, no calls. Their bank accounts were untouched. Rich's Dodge Dakota vanished without a trace. If someone had taken them, they'd done so flawlessly. No witnesses, no evidence, just gone. As weeks turned into months, and then years, theories emerged. Could Danielle's estranged husband have played a role? Investigators looked into it, but no charges were ever filed, and no evidence ever linked him to their disappearance. Was it a crime of opportunity? Unlikely. It was late, but not deserted. And why take both of them and the vehicle without a single slip-up? A professional hit. That theory gained traction. FBI agents have stated publicly that they believe the couple may have been murdered in a for-hire crime, possibly related to a jealous lover or personal grudge. But without physical evidence, the case remains frustratingly cold. As of 2025, it's been more than 20 years. The truck, with its Pennsylvania plate YFH2319, has never been recovered. Search teams, including dive groups like Adventures with Purpose, have investigated local rivers and bodies of water, suspecting the truck may have been dumped. Nothing has turned up. Danielle's young son is now a grown man. Rich's daughter, once a teenager, is now well into adulthood. Their families have held vigils, offered rewards, and pleaded for answers. The FBI maintains a $15,000 reward for information that could bring them home. What happened to Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone Jr. on that February night in 2005? Did they make it to the truck? Did someone wait for them in the shadows? Were they ambushed, or lured, or forced? The lack of evidence is not just puzzling, it's chilling. Most missing person cases leave behind some clue, some fragment of what happened. But in this case, the silence is total. It's as if the city itself swallowed them whole. And until someone speaks, or something is found, that silence will remain. If you, or anyone you know, has information regarding the disappearance of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone Jr., please get in touch with law enforcement. It was just a quick errand, nothing out of the ordinary. 12-year-old Sherry Lynn Marler had tagged along with her stepfather, Raymond, for a trip to the First National Bank in downtown Greenville. Sherry was what you'd call a little farmer, a tomboy at heart, more comfortable in jeans and boots than dresses and dolls. She'd rather be outdoors, riding tractors and tending animals, than stuck inside. That morning, Raymond had business to handle at the bank. Sherry came with him, maybe out of boredom, maybe just for some time together. While he was inside, he handed her a $1 bill for a soda at the gas station across the street. It was just after 9:30 a.m. She smiled, took the money, and crossed the road. It was the last time anyone would see her alive. Raymond expected her back in 10 or 15 minutes. But the minutes ticked by. Then longer. He looked around, walked over to the gas station, asked around. No one had seen her. He searched nearby streets. Maybe she wandered. Maybe she saw someone she knew. But as time passed, the panic set in. Sherry was gone. Police were called. Flyers were printed. Witnesses were questioned. But no leads surfaced. There were no signs of struggle, no physical evidence, and no confirmed sightings at the gas station. The only thing left behind was the haunting silence, and that dollar bill never spent. Sherry wasn't the kind of kid to run away. She was close to her family, especially her mother, Betty Stringfellow. The two shared a quiet bond, the kind built from routine country life, school lunches, and late-night talks. Betty never gave up the search. From that first day, she refused to believe Sherry had left by choice. And she never accepted that no one had seen anything, not in a town as small as Greenville. In the weeks after Sherry disappeared, strange reports began trickling in. A truck stop in Georgia. A witness saw a girl matching Sherry's description, looking tired and out of place, with a middle-aged man. The girl appeared nervous. A mall in New Orleans, another girl, again similar in appearance, again with a man. She was overheard calling him BJ. A restaurant near the Florida border, a waitress remembered a quiet girl who looked haunted, wary, thin, and distant. None of these sightings could be confirmed. No names, no plates, no firm trail. But the details were eerily consistent. In each account, she was with a white man in his 50s, rough-looking, husky, and weathered. If it was Sherry, she hadn't vanished, she'd been taken. Over time, Sherry's case faded from headlines, but never from the hearts of those who knew her. Every year, her mother held events, posted updates, and pleaded for information. Flyers with age-progressed images were circulated. Her case appeared on podcasts, forums, and cold case specials. Search teams and volunteers followed leads for decades. Rumors abounded, some chilling, like whispers of her being killed and her body disposed of on a hog farm, or that she'd been trafficked. But no theory ever stuck, and no body was found. Today, more than 40 years later, Sherry Lynn Marler remains missing. Her face has aged in the photos, but her eyes are still those of a curious, quiet country girl, frozen in time. Investigators believe someone out there knows what happened. Maybe someone saw that truck. Maybe someone heard that man called BJ. Maybe someone is still holding a secret that could bring a mother the truth she's begged for. In a small Alabama town, $1 for a soda turned into a mystery that's haunted generations. And the question still echoes through the years. What happened to Sherry? If you have any information about the disappearance of Sherry Lynn Marler, please contact the Greenville Police Department or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.